In this presentation, I will be looking back at all my previous work and going through the reviews and future actions for this individual and how they will improve in their weaknesses. Starting with notational analysis, as shown in the various graphs, there are an array of results with this individual. There are several aspects that need to be discussed. Firstly, with the 2 pointers, the mean averages were 39% throughout the whole group, and 39% were successful. However, this individual's their mean was only 20%, therefore she is below average, which is also the case in the layups. The mean was 33% and hers was 0%, so she is well below average. However, comparing the different things that could have affected this, it is not all down to her performance. As shown into the next slide, the schematics will show that she was mainly performing in the defense section of the game, but the main effects that we are focusing on is the assists. The reason for this is because being a small forward, if she is weak on shooting, she needs to be able to help with the shooting aspect of the game, therefore with assists. With the assist statistics, it shows that there were below the 1 mark average, but the group data was by the 3 mark, which shows that they are obviously below the average of the group. So she's also below average on shooting, and them two kind of work together, because if you can't shoot, you should be helping with assists. So that is something we're going to look into. Moving on to the comparisons and the schematics. As you can see, these comparisons don't really relate to the weaknesses, however they do show certain things. With the correlation, I did height and 3 pointers, which did show that there wasn't actually a correlation between heights, because this one down here is obviously shows that they're the smallest and also didn't have any points scored, and this one is the tallest and obviously did. However, there's also taller players along here that still got none, so there wasn't a correlation there. Also with the comparison up here, I did a live game and a video game to see if they compared any different between defensive rebounds, and there wasn't much difference. As you can see, they're both kind of raised, they're kind of similar in the same way, so there wasn't really a correlation or comparison there. Moving on to the schematics, this is the one we're looking at right here. Her schematics show that she is the strongest on one side of the court, therefore a weakness would be her movement around the court. For overall analysis, the strengths and weaknesses were she's stronger on the left side of the court. However, she was bad at assists and movement, which do tie in together, because if she's stronger on one side, she's not able to move around and give the opportunities where is needed. Moving on to the technical model. With the technical model, in order to look at the player's strengths and weaknesses, I compared the player with the professional stages of the specific skill. The skill chosen was boxing and rebound. With the first stage of boxing and rebound, it is preparation. With this stage, there are certain positives and negatives of this individual. For starters, at the start of the skill, they kept eye contact with where the ball was being played. However, because of this, they lost contact with the player. They were marking, so which led to faults with the other stages of the skill. They also didn't pivot into their player, which also connects with the contact, because if you don't pivot into your player and gain contact straight away, you will lose them and won't be able to stay in front of them in order to gain possession in the first stage. For the professional side of this, the stages that you should be doing is you should be gaining contact right away with your arm, and then you should pivot into the player, keep that contact, keep them behind you, keep a wide base, keep low to the ground, and follow them wherever they move in order to stay front and get the ball. So that they were the stages that they weren't quite successful in. Moving on to the execution stage. With this stage, there were, again, positives and negatives that they were going through. With this one, the connection was made with the ball. However, because with the first stage the contact wasn't made, when going to get the ball, their back was arched, meaning they had to overstretch themselves in order to get in the right position and gain the ball. They also had a little jump, however not the right height to the point where they would have been stable when landing. So therefore the position wasn't right, and that really didn't help them. So with the professional side of this, what they should have done is, as soon as the ball was rebounded off, they should detach from their player and jump towards the ball in order to get there first, and then bring it back into their possession to keep hold of it. The final stage is the recovery stage. So with this last stage of the skill, they were able to keep hold of the ball, so they were able to keep possession, and they were also able to pass it out onto another player in order to get it down to the other side of the court. However, when landing, they weren't able to keep a wide base. So when you don't keep a wide base, it means you are at risk of someone else coming and taking the ball away from you. So if you keep a wide base, you keep low to the ground, you keep the ball close to your chest and do a quick pass out, you will be able to keep that to your side as an advantage. So with the professional player here, as you can see, when they jumped to the ball, they landed down, they had a wide base, they passed out quickly with the opposition nowhere to be in sight. So they were some of the strengths and weaknesses throughout that. Moving on to the numerical model. With the numerical model, there were certain aspects that were brought up when we're looking through the different results of the sprints and lab sprints that we did. When looking at the sprints, the graph shows different results. So with the velocity graph, you can see that it starts to decrease during the end of the race. This could mean that they aren't keeping the same speed throughout the whole thing. This could be an issue during a game, because if they can't keep their speed up, they may miss out on elements of the game. This also may mean that they won't be able to help with certain, so if there was a defense rebound made, they may not be able to sprint in time, they may be too out of breath, they may be able to take it off, which isn't an advantage for the game. Also shown in the graphs is acceleration. With the acceleration, it also shows a drop, which is quite drastic at the second to last 5 meter stage, so the 4th stage. This would have the same effects as velocity during a game, because if you're dropping your acceleration down during a game, you need to be able to accelerate to the end, not half accelerate and then drop and then re-accelerate, because you're wasting your energy. You're also wasting the time during the game that could be used effectively. So, moving on to the lab results. In the lab results, it shows that their braking force is higher than their propulsive force, so their braking impulse and propulsive impulse a bit different. So if your braking force is higher than the impulse, it means that you aren't getting as much force back from the ground which you are laying down. This could affect you in a game, because you want to have the same force that you are pushing down to bring you back up in order to help your speed, acceleration, velocity, all of them, which all helps with a small forward. So that is one drastic aspect that I will be looking into for my weaknesses. So an overview of all 3 of them. So notational analysis, strengths would be stronger on the left side of the court, and weaknesses would be bad at assists and their movement. Technical model, again, would be strengths. The main strengths out of all 3 of the different stages would be eye contact and possession. For the weaknesses, so contact with the player, position to gain possession, and technique are the main weaknesses there. Moving on to numerical model, I narrowed it down a bit. So strengths would be the angle, didn't really talk into that, but the angle of their knee was good, so that would also help with their braking force that they were laying down. Weaknesses would be their propulsive force, so they didn't have an equal propulsive force to their braking force, affecting their speed and acceleration. So again, it relates to their other weakness, which is acceleration. Moving on to my targets, my first target that I want to apply for them is their movement. So their movement around court was a bit weak, and in order to help them improve this, there will be 3 different stages as well as a drill. So at the start of a 6-week that they will be doing, the first drill that they do is the Illinois agility test, which is shown in a photograph there. So the Illinois agility test is to test agility. Agility is important in basketball in order to help with speed and in order to move around players in the court to get in the right position. So I'll be doing that at the start and then comparing it at the end of the 6-week doing these drills. The first one is the weave drill. The way this works is the weave drill would be you have 5 cones separated with each other around 5 meters apart. You will do side steps weaving in and out, side to side, quick steps side to side. You will go up once, sprint down to the end, up the other side, and sprint the other side. They will do it 3 times, both sides, with a 30-second break in between each sprint at the end. They will do 5 sets of this. This will be completed 2 times a week. So 2 days a week they will be doing this. They will do the all through the sets of that. And then the next one is the hoop drill. There'll be 3 large hoops combined with each other, and the start of the drill, they start at one end, they do quick steps in and out of each hoop, and then quick steps back. They'll do 4 reps of that with 5 sets, and that will also be completed 2 times a week. The chair challenge is created to do more of a basketball environment. There are 4 different chairs along the whole of the court, different angles and different lengths away from each other. They will be closer together at the start of the 6 weeks and further apart towards the end. For the chair challenge, what they have to do is from the start of one chair, they have to dribble a ball, which will not be including at the start. We're going to do no balls at the start. So they will quick step dribble to the first chair, go around the chair to the next, around that one to the next, round, and they will try and shoot into the basket. We're not mainly focusing on shooting, of course we're focusing on movement around the court, that's why they'll be spread out, but we are adding a shooting aspect in order to bring basketball into the game. Towards the end of the 6 weeks, towards the 4th, 5th and 6th week of this work, they will be doing or adding in a ball to apply to each one, dribbling with the ball in order to add a basketball aspect to get them comfortable with helping with movement. And then finally at the end of this, they will do the Illinois agility test and we will compare to see if they have advanced. If not, redo them all and hope that it continues to improve them, which it should. Moving on to the second target, this weakness would be technique and contact. There is 2 things that they will be doing throughout the 6 weeks, which are explosive jumps and jump squats. With the explosive jumps, they'll be doing 5 reps, 5 sets to help with power. The reason I picked technique and contact is because the main technique I'm focusing on is the jump in the execution phase for the box in and rebound. This could really help improve advantage, would help with assists and defensive rebounds. So the explosive jumps and jump squats will help with power in the legs to help with that. So yep, they'll be doing 5 reps and 5 sets of that at least once a day for the whole 6 weeks. And then jump squats again, 10 reps, 5 sets, again once a day for the whole 6 weeks. And we will also be including ball over the week, so this will be done towards a basket at the start, and someone will relay it up and you will jump towards doing your explosive jumps to gain possession. In order to practice this, we will do the execution phase at the start and at the end and see if any improvements were made. Moving on to the final weakness, this is acceleration. So acceleration will be tested by doing shuttle sprints, mountain climbers into sprints as well.